Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be learning about Redux, which is a state management tool, right? And honestly it has nothing to do with React as such, right? It's a state management tool which can be used also with other frameworks or libraries, right? And in this particular video we are going to see how to use Redux in React, particularly in React. So I've already mentioned that Redux is a state management tool, but why do we need Redux, right? So what is the problem that we are trying to address by using Redux? So for that, let's take this example where we have a main component. Let's say this is our app.js and it has three other components, which is a side nav, right? And we have a movie board and a game board. The movie board has a list of all the movies for a particular user, and also the game board has a list of particular games that the user likes. And inside of my side nav, which has nothing to do with either movie board or game board, I want to display what are the total number of movies liked by the user and what is the total number of games liked by the user, right? So there has to be some interaction between the side nav, the movie board and the game board. So if you see the component structure, this is how it looks. You have your app.js. App.js is calling side nav, right? And it's also calling another component, which is a wrapper, which basically displays your movie board and game board. Now, as you can see, these two don't have any direct relation with each other. The way they are connected is through this app.js. That's the parent, right? That's the common ancestor that they have. But they're not directly connected in any way. So one way that we can look at in order to solve this problem is by keeping all the state inside app.js. That is, you keep the list of all the movies inside app.js, all the games inside app.js, and you can pass all the data through props, right? You can pass it through props, and finally your movie board and the game board can receive it. And also you can pass the length through a prop to your side nav. But imagine the tree structure wasn't this simple, and in fact the depth of the tree was very large. So you would have to pass props all the way down to the children, and you cannot miss it in any intermediate stage. That won't work, right? Keeping the state inside app.js is actually an issue. First of all, we are trying to pollute app.js because the state inside app.js has nothing to do with either movie board or the game board, right? It simply calls these components to render them. The state for movie should be stored inside movie component, and the similar thing should also be done for the game board. That is one thing. Another thing is, let's say the state of movie board changes. What happens? Since the state is inside app.js, entire app.js will get re-rendered. So movie board gets re-rendered, game board gets re-rendered, side nav gets re-rendered, right? Everything that we include inside app.js is going to get re-rendered. And that's obviously a performance problem, right? Why do we simply want to re-render what has not changed? That means the state should obviously be inside movie board and game board, and side nav should have its own state, if at all. That means there has to be a way for these to actually share the state, right? That's what we are trying to do. And that's where Redux is going to help us. Redux is, you can think of this state as centralized state, which is available to every other component. So it is, you can think of it as a detached state, right? It is not particularly bound to any component here, but any component that wants to use it can directly import the state, which we will see how to do it in a while, but it should be able to import the state and use it. Whichever component needs that state can actually use it. So this was a basic introduction. Now let's actually go ahead and start coding and see how this is going to work. Alright, so I basically right now have a very basic React app with me, right? That simply displays hello world. So if I go to app.js, you can see I'm simply just returning hello world. That's what you can see over here. And in order to get started with your app, it's very easy. If you have Node installed in your system, all you have to do is run the following command, that is npx create react app, and then the name of your project. So you can name it anything you want. So I'm just going to say React Redux, for example. Since I've already done that, I'm not going to run this, but this one command is enough for you to get started with a React project, right? A basic setup of a React project. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is actually install Redux, and for that we're going to have to install two packages. So npm install, the first thing is Redux, right? This is the state management tool, or we can say the state management package. And the second thing we want to install is React Redux. So like I mentioned before, that Redux has nothing to do with React as such, right? It's a state management package that can be used with other frameworks as well. So in order to connect Redux to React, right, to use Redux inside of React, we need another package, which is React Redux. So this is going to be the bridge between React and Redux. I've already installed both the packages, so again, I'm not going to hit enter on this one. And before actually getting started with React Redux, that is connecting Redux to React, I just want to tell you how to actually use Redux, right, without using React. So this is an index.js file, which is a normal JavaScript file, and inside of this JavaScript file, I'm going to show you Redux, right? I'm going to show you how to use Redux just inside of this JavaScript one file, right? So there are various components, or you can say various parts of this Redux that we'll have to look at first and understand before we can actually start coding. What are these components? So the first thing is basically a store. Now what is a store? A store is the place where you're going to store all your data. This is the place, this is the globalized state, right? So I'm just going to write it here. This is the globalized state where all your state is going to reside, and this store can be used by various components, right? Any component that wants to use the state will get it from the store. So your store is a globalized state. All right. What is the next thing? The next thing is an action. Now what is an action? An action is basically a name of a task that you want to do. It does not actually do the action. It does not perform any action. It only tells what is it that I want to do. What is the action that I want to take? In our case, we are going to build a counter. So you can increment the counter, decrement the counter, right? So for example, the counter value is 0, you increment, it becomes 1, and so on. So an action in that case would be increment, right? So I'm going to write it in caps. That's the naming convention that we follow. We write it in caps. So an action could be simply increment, or it could be an action called decrement, right? The next thing we have is a reducer. The reducer is actually responsible for taking care of the action. So inside of my action, I'm only going to say I want to perform the action increment. But inside of reducer, I'll actually handle increment. That is, the state will actually go from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and so on. Based on the current value, I'm going to increment, right? So the action, the real action actually takes place inside of the reducer. Action simply tells the name of the action that we want to perform, right? So this is actually going to handle the state change, right? The next thing is called something called dispatch. Now these three things were just a basic setup. We set up the store, we set up action, we set up reducer. But finally, we also want to actually execute the action. What I mean is, I will actually have to call increment somewhere, right? I will have to write somewhere that please call the increment action for me. So we actually say I want to dispatch an action, right? So we say I want to dispatch an action. So dispatch, I'm just going to write dispatch an action so that we remember it that way, right? So you would have something like dispatch increment, dispatch decrement. So here you're actually saying that please execute this action for me, right? So how it happens is, you dispatch an action, it goes here to the action, and then depending on what action you dispatch, for example, you can dispatch increment or you can dispatch decrement, the reducer is going to take care of the action. That means it will actually change the value from 0 to 1 or 0 to -1 depending on what is the action that you want to perform. Now this is not going to make much sense because we haven't written any code for it, but it's going to make sense, I promise. So let's go ahead and actually start writing code. The first thing is, we want to create our store, right? So store is where we want to store all our state. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and import create store from React. So I want to import something from Redux. Sorry, not React. We want to import from Redux. What is it that we want to import? We want to import create store. Create store is going to help me actually create the store, right? So how do you create a store? We simply say let store is equal to create store, right? And inside of create store, you'll have to pass in a reducer, which we are going to talk about in a while. You can also pass multiple reducers, right? So over here we can also pass multiple reducers. So if we take the PPT example, we'll have one reducer for movie board, we'll have one reducer for game board, and so on. So in this particular example, I'm going to only take one reducer, but when we do it with React, which we will also do in a while, we will take two reducers in that example. So over here I'm only taking one reducer, right? So I'll have to pass in a reducer which we have not created yet. So let's leave it for now, right? Let's come to our action part. How do we actually implement an action? An action is nothing but just a function, a JavaScript function that returns an object, right? So let's see how to do that. So let me say const and let me call it increment counter, right? And this is an arrow function that I'm creating over here. And what it does, like I said, is it returns an object. So let me return an object, right? And inside of this object, you actually name your action, right? So always remember, you create an action which is a normal JavaScript function, right? And what it returns is an object which will contain the name of your particular action, right? So what is the name of my action? The name of my action is increment, right? Like I said, we're going to follow caps. This is the naming convention that we usually follow. All right, so we have created an action. That's it. That's all you have to do in order to create an action. It doesn't do anything meaningful as such. It only gives a name to your action, right? So you create a function which tells what you want to do. So you want to increment counter, and then you give a name to your action. So in my case it is increment. Let's go ahead and do the next thing. Now before I proceed, let me create another action which is decrement counter, so that we can see how to handle multiple actions, right? So I'm going to go ahead and change this name to decrement, right? And also the name this time is going to be decrement. Alright, so we have created two actions. Oops, I think I actually gave the wrong spelling. So decrement, yeah. So we have decrement counter, we have increment counter. We have two particular actions, right, that we want to perform. We might want to perform actually. So now let's come to the reducer. What does the reducer do? The reducer actually handles state change, right? It actually takes care of executing the particular action. It takes the action, right? How do we create a reducer? Again, a reducer is just a function that basically handles your actions. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a reducer, right? And I'm going to name this counter. This is a counter reducer, right? We are taking care of all the actions related to counter in this particular reducer. So I'm going to name it counter, right? And this is also going to be an arrow function. Now before I proceed, it takes two things as an argument. The first thing is, what is the initial state for your counter, right? So I want to start my initial state with 0. So I'm going to say that the initial state of my counter should actually be 0. That's the first argument, right? The second argument is the action. Now like I said before, the counter or the reducer is supposed to actually handle the action. So obviously it should get the action as an argument, so it can decide what is the action that somebody wants to perform, right? And obviously you can be receiving multiple action, increment, decrement, or there can be reset, right? Things like that. So we'll have to actually find out what is the action. So we'll write a switch case, right? So switch between the different actions. So I'm going to go ahead and write a switch statement, right? And what do I want to switch between? I want to switch between the names, right? So I'm going to get different names for every action. So I want to switch action dot name, which can be obviously different for every action, right? And depending on the case, so for example, if the case is increment, in our case, I would say that I want to change the state from 0 to 1, right? I would increment it. So simply just return state plus 1. This is going to handle incrementing a particular state, which was actually 0. Similarly, we will have another case, right? In this case, I'm going to say case and decrement, right? And let me go ahead and say return state minus 1, right? That's what our decrement action would do. It would decrease the state from 0. If it was 0, it would become minus 1, minus 2, and so on, as many times as I call the decrement action, right? So this is all that the reducer code looks like. It simply takes the action and it also decides what should be the initial state for your reducer. So counter reducer initial state is 0 and it switches between different actions, right? So it switches between increment, decrement, because these are the only two actions that I have defined as of now. It can switch between them and take action depending on what is the action that we want to perform, right? So it will actually perform. This is what is doing the state change. It is basically handling the state change, just like we can see over here, right? Finally, now that we have created our counter, we can actually go ahead and create our store. Like I mentioned before, the store takes a reducer as an argument, and the reducer that we have created is called counter, right? So I'm going to say counter, right? Why do we need to pass the reducer into the store? Because the store is going to take care of taking all your state into one place. It is a globalized state. And where have I actually locally defined the state? It is actually inside the reducer itself, right? So we need to pass the reducer as an argument so that the store gets access to that particular state. If I had another reducer, I would also have to let the store know that there is another reducer, so it would also include that state. So it is basically taking all the state from these reducers and combining into one store, right? So that's what we are doing. Alright, so we are done with creating our store, we are done with the action, and we are done with the reducer. Finally, we can actually go ahead and start taking this action. So let me dispatch an action so that I can do it. In order to dispatch an action, since we have already created a store, you can say store dot and then dispatch, right? So you store dot dispatch and I can dispatch an action. I'll have to pass in the action that I want to dispatch. I have created two particular actions, increment and decrement counter. So let me dispatch increment counter, and I'll have to actually invoke the function, right? Because increment counter is a function. So I'm going to have to dispatch this. Now in order to see all of this in the console and see the changes, I'm going to actually console it, right? So for this I can simply say store dot subscribe, right? And this has nothing to do with React. We are not going to use this in React, so you don't need to worry about it. So I'm going to say store dot subscribe, right? And I want to subscribe to the changes, so this takes an arrow function, and I simply just want to console.log and get the state, right? So I'm going to say state, and the value of the state is basically going to be store.getState. Store.getState returns the current state of your store. I'll have to put a comma over here. Yeah. Let me actually go ahead and expand this window so it's more clearer. Alright, so we can see that we have actually subscribed to the store. That means if there are any changes, I'm subscribing to those changes. And if there is a change, please console log the state, right? And in order to get the state, I'm using store.getState. Now this particular subscribe function is not important over here. This is just to see what are the changes that we can see in the console, right? Alright, so it's actually giving us an error that we are trying to access the reducer before actually defining it. So we have defined counter over here and we are trying to use it on top. So I'm going to copy this and put it at the bottom. So first we create our action, then we create a reducer, and finally we create a store, right? So I'm going to hit save on this and let me refresh. And right now it's giving us another error that actions may not have an undefined type. So if you go to the action, we have actually given the name, right? But the general convention is to say type. You say that the type of action is increment. Even though it's the name, the general convention that's followed is type. So I'm going to change this name to type. So you need to be careful about this one. So we want to switch between action.type, right? So let me hit save on this and let me go ahead and refresh. So it's working, but we're not going to see anything on the UI because we have not added anything to the UI. We're only checking for the changes in the console. So let me go ahead and open the console and see what happens. As you can see, it's saying state as 1, right? We have actually put the initial state at 0, but because we are calling our increment counter, the state changed from 0 to 1. So let me go ahead and also add a few more actions, and then we'll talk about the flow of how this is actually working. So I'm going to call increment count 3 times, and let me actually call decrement here. So let me call decrement counter after incrementing it twice, and I think I'm messing up the name, so let me say decrement counter. Yeah, this should be fine. Let me go ahead and refresh. And now let's check the state actually changed from 0 to 1 and then to 2 because I called increment counter twice, and then finally I called decrement counter, so it actually changed the state back to 1, right? So we have written all this piece of code. Let's see how the flow actually works. So this is how the flow works. First of all, somebody actually wants to dispatch an action because they actually want to execute. This is how the execution is going to start. So first I say that I want to dispatch increment counter function, right? So from here, or you can say increment counter inside the action. So we are actually executing this increment counter. If I go to the definition of increment counter, I'm simply returning an action. From this action, the control is going to go to the reducer, right? I have already dispatched the action and I have also told what should be the type of my action. From here, the control comes to the reducer. Reducer will obviously tell what is the initial state of your particular reducer, which is counter reducer, state is 0. And it also takes another argument, which is an action, right? So it basically checks between the different actions and takes the appropriate action. So if it is increment, increment the state, otherwise decrement the state. So this is how the flow works. It comes to the reducer. And finally, when the reducer has changed the state, what happens? Inside of store, we are actually passing the reducer. So when there is a change in the reducer, the global state also needs to change. So finally our global store is changing, and that's how we are able to get the state by doing store.getState. We can see that the changes are occurring in the store. Now just to repeat one more time, we start from dispatching an action. From the action, we actually dispatch the type of action. The control goes to the reducer. The reducer will check what are the different types of actions and what action needs to actually take place. Based on what action we take, what state change we do, it is going to get reflected in the main store, and we are subscribing to the store to check for changes, and we will be able to see it in the console, right? So this was the basic flow, and now let's actually see how to do it in React. So we have done this in a normal JavaScript file, but now we're going to make use of the React Redux package to actually connect this particular Redux code to React. In order to get started with that, we basically want to create 2 folders, one for the actions and another one for the reducers. It's always a good practice to keep the both separately. So I'm going to go ahead and create a folder here, and I'm going to name this all the reducers, right? And also I'm going to create another folder which is actually going to be called actions. Inside of my reducers, since I said in this particular example we will be creating 2 reducers, I'm going to create the first file which is counter reducer. So it's going to be counter.js. And the second reducer that I want to create is a toggle reducer that basically toggles between true and false. So I'm going to name this toggle.js. So I basically have two reducers as of now, right? And also inside of my actions, I'm going to create one particular action file which is going to be counter.js. Of course, you can create many more. So I'm going to have counter.js. Also, like I mentioned before, we have to actually combine all the reducers, right? We need to combine the reducers when we want to actually give it to our create store, because create store will take all the reducers. So for that purpose, I'm going to create another file called index.js. We'll look at in detail in a while what we're going to do with this index.js, but we're going to basically use index.js to combine all the reducers. Alright, so let's get started with actions, just like how we did it in index.js. What I'm going to do is simply copy paste the code from our index.js. So if I go to index.js, I have already created two actions. Let me go ahead and remove this from here. And what I'm going to do is basically go to my actions and counter.js. So here I'm going to keep all the actions related to counter.js. So I'm going to paste this, and I've actually added an extra export statement to both of the functions. The reason is, since we are putting it in a different file now, we need to be able to export it so somebody else can use it, right? So now all of it is not in a single file, but we are putting it across files, so we'll have to export it. We can use it somewhere else. So I have done the export over here, right? Similarly, let's again go to our index.js and take the reducer code. So again, I'm going to copy this code from here, and let me go to counter.js. So the reducer responsible for counter.js, I'm going to paste it here, right? And again, I'll have to export it so that it can be used outside of this file. So I'm going to export it. Again, since I mentioned I'm going to create another reducer, which is toggle.js, let's go ahead and create a reducer over here. So I'm going to say const and let's name it toggle, right? And this is also going to be an arrow function, and basically the name that we want to give, the initial state for this is, let's say, false, right? And obviously it will get some actions, right? So action. And what we want to do over here is basically switch again. So the same thing that we did in index.js. So I'll have to switch between action.type. So here I'll have to switch between toggle, right? So let me say that the name of the action or the type of the action is going to be toggle. So I'm going to say case, and then the case should be toggle, right? And if the case is toggle, what do we want to do? We basically want to toggle the state. So simply we just want to return not of state. So if it's true, make it false, false, make it true, and so on. So I'm going to hit save on this one. And let's also add a default case, right? It's always a good practice to add a default. In fact, we must add a default case. So if it's default, we simply want to return state. That is, don't make any changes and simply return state, right? Let me put a colon over here. Alright, so the same thing, let's also do it in counter.js, add a default case. So if it's default, let's simply just return state, right? Don't make any changes to the state and simply just go ahead and return it. So we have created our action and we have also created our reducer. Let's go to index.js and see what's the next step. The next step is creating the store. We're going to keep creating the store, which is just one line of code over here. You can see inside of index.js itself, we keep creating our store logic inside of index.js. So I'm not going to move this out, and we won't be needing all of this anymore, right? So I'm going to get rid of all this code, and let me hit save on this one. So the thing to notice over here is this. Since we are doing create store over here, we need to pass the reducers, right? So we'll have to import the reducer, which we have exported from our reducer file. But since there are two reducers this time, what we'll have to do is we'll have to give both the reducers to our create store function. So one thing we can do is we can import both the reducers in this file, and let's say, one of them is counter, another one is toggle, right? We might think this is going to work, but this is not going to work. We can't simply pass the reducers like this. We'll have to use something called combined reducers, right? So combined reducers, we'll have to again import from Redux. We'll have to import combined reducer from Redux and actually combine the reducer and then pass it to create store. So instead of doing all of that inside of index.js, I'm going to do it inside of another file called index.js inside of reducers, right? So inside of reducers, we keep a file called index.js where we combine all our reducers. So first thing is we'll have to import both the reducers, right? So import from, basically you could say, the counter file, right? And what do we want to import? We want to import the counter reducer, and similarly we also want to import the toggle reducer. So again, I'm going to say from, and over here I'll have to add toggle, right? And let me say toggle. So I have imported both the reducers. Now I actually need to combine it. How do we combine a reducer? We'll have to import combined reducers from Redux. So there is something exported which is combined reducers from Redux, which actually helps us combine the reducers. So I'm going to go and say combined reducers. Okay, so we have imported combined reducers. Now we can actually go ahead and combine these reducers. So I'm going to say let root reducer, or let's say all reducers, you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it root reducer, which is basically a combination of all the reducers, right? So I'm going to say this, and then combined reducer is a function, right, which takes an object as an argument. So I'm going to keep this as an object, and I need to pass the key value pair. So with what name do I want to export? So I want to export counter with, of course, sorry, I'll have to backspace. I'll have to export counter with counter itself, right? I can also change the name if I want. And let me also export toggle with toggle, right? Of course, I could choose whatever name I wanted, for example, counter reducer, or I could change this name. So this would be the name I would finally have to use, but I'm going to use the same names. And inside of ES6, there is a short syntax. When the key and value pairs are same, you can actually just write it once. So just writing counter basically means the key and value both are same, right? So I'm going to get rid of this. So this is going to get very small, and now you can say that you're basically combining the counter and toggle reducer, and it is called root reducer. Now in order to use this root reducer inside app.js, again we'll have to actually export it, right? So I'm going to say export, right? So I'm exporting it from here, and I have to go to index.js, right, the main index.js, and over here I'll have to import the root reducer. So import from, I'll have to say reducers. Inside of reducers, I have actually exported it from index.js, right? So from index.js, and we want to basically go ahead and import the root reducer, right? So finally, to our store, to our create store, we can actually pass the root reducer, right, which is a combination of all the reducers. That means my store has the state for toggle as well as counter, right? So that's what store means. It is a globalized state. It contains all of the state, right? So we have done all of this successfully. Finally, we want to now connect whatever we have done in Redux to React, right? So much of work to do this. So in order to finally connect our app component, right, app is the root component, right? Inside of this we call other components generally. So we want to connect our app to basically Redux, and that is going to help us all other components get access to Redux, right? So for that, I'll have to import something called a provider from React Redux. Since we are talking about connecting React and Redux, this is something provided by the React Redux package, and it's called a provider, right? So I'm going to say provider, and all we have to do is wrap our app.js inside of this provider, and it should get access. So I should say provider, right, and close it, and put app component inside of this provider. So we are basically saying that I want to provide my app.js with a particular store, right? So that store will have to pass it as an argument, right? We'll have to pass it as a prop, because now there's no way for app.js to know who is actually providing the data, right? So we want to say store equal to, and whatever the store is. So in our case, it's called store itself, right? We have named it store. So now by doing this, we are saying that we want to provide app.js with this particular store, right? So now app.js should have access to the store that we have created. Finally, it's time for us to actually go ahead and use it, right? So I'm going to go to app.js, and let's say I want to use some value from the state from the store inside of app.js, right? So since we have created a counter example, let me say that I want to actually import the counter state. We have two states, right? We have two reducers. We have counter, and we also have what we call the toggle. So let me say inside of app.js, I want to use counter. Let's see how we can do that. For that, I'll have to actually import something from React Redux, which is gonna help us select what state we want to get. Since there can be multiple states, there can be counter, toggle, and many other reducers, we need to be able to choose between these reducers, right? We need to be able to choose between the state. So for that, we have something called, let me actually first say import from React Redux, right? Again, this is connecting the two, so this is going to be a part of React Redux. And what we want to import is something called useSelector. UseSelector is basically just like a function that's going to help us select what state we want to use inside of app.js, right? So we have useSelector, and all I have to do is say const counter. I can name it whatever I want, of course, and use selector, right? So use selector is a function. It takes an arrow function as an argument. So I'm going to make an arrow function over here, right? What it essentially does is the parameter is going to be all of the state, right? So let me say state. This state is going to contain whatever reducers we have, so with the same name, right? So this state is going to contain, of course, counter and toggle. What is it that we want to choose? We'll have to return it from here. So I'm going to say return state.counter. That means from my global state, I am actually making a choice. I'm using use selector and saying I'm selecting counter state. I could also select toggle. So I could return state.toggle. In that case, I would have access to the true and false values, right? And I'm storing all of this state that I have returned inside of counter, right? So let me hit save on this. And this is all we have to do to actually select and get access to that state. So now that we have access to counter, let's actually go ahead and display it and see if we are able to get the value. So I'm going to say counter, and all I want to do is basically display the counter, right? So let me hit save on this, and I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And as you can see, the value is 0, right? That's the initial value we have given, right? We have not dispatched any action. We have not done increment, decrement or anything. We are simply just getting access to the state, right? The counter state, we have got access to it using use selector, and we are able to display it inside of app.js. The next thing we want to do is we actually want to create a button that will help us actually increment or decrement the state, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create a button, and let's say this one is to increment, right? And on click of this, we'll actually have to do something, but let's do that in a while. Let me simply for now create two buttons, one for increment and one for decrement, right? So I have created two buttons that are going to help me change the value of this counter. Now I mentioned before that in order to actually perform or execute an action, we'll have to call dispatch. We'll have to dispatch an action. So for that, we have another thing called use dispatch, right? Which can also be imported from React Redux. So I'm going to go ahead and import this use dispatch in order to actually dispatch the action, right? Now all I have to do is go ahead and create an instance of use dispatch. I'm going to say const, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to say dispatch. Let me actually just name it dispatch, right? So const dispatch and equal to use dispatch. Now again, use dispatch is a function, so this is how you would invoke it, right? And I'm basically storing it inside of dispatch. Now let's actually go ahead and dispatch the action. Now as you can see, I have not imported the action anywhere, right? So I want to use it inside app.js. I want to actually increment and decrement, so I'll have to get access to those actions inside app.js. For that purpose, we'll have to import those actions, right? So let me go ahead and import, and we want to basically import from, if you could say, it is actually from the actions, right? And inside of actions we have counter, and we have exported two functions. One is called increment counter, another one is called decrement counter. So I'm going to save this. Now I should be able to use these actions, right? So on click, I should be able to say that I want to basically call these functions, right? So on click, and let me actually create an arrow function over here, right? And say that I want to dispatch, right, increment counter. So again, I'll have to invoke it. Let me hit save on this. Let me actually expand it so you can see it properly for once. So on click, I'm saying that I want to dispatch increment counter. Just like we did before, we'll have to invoke it like this. Similarly for decrement counter, I'm just going to copy this and let me put it for decrement as well, and change from increment to decrement counter, right? So let me hit save on this. That's all we had to do. Just import the action, right, and simply dispatch the action that you want. And in order to dispatch, you'll have to make use of use dispatch from React Redux package and create an instance of it and try to dispatch these actions. So we are facing an error right now because this had to actually, we missed a curly bracket over here. Let me hit save on this and let me go ahead and refresh. Now let's see what happens. As you can see, I'm clicking on increment counter and the value of counter is actually changing. Similarly, I can click on decrement counter and the value keeps changing. That's all we had to do in order to integrate React with Redux, and we are now able to get access to the store, we are able to dispatch actions and so on, right? Now I quickly want to tell you about Redux DevTools, which is, makes our life much easier when we are dealing with Redux, because you see, just to create a simple counter example, we had to do so much, right? We have to dispatch actions, we have to handle them inside the reducer and the state changes and so on, right? So for that purpose, I'm going to make use of Redux DevTools. So you can simply say Redux DevTools over here, and it's going to take you to this Chrome extension. I have already added this, right? So you can actually go ahead and add it to Chrome, right? And another thing you'll have to do before you can actually start using it. So if you go to the GitHub link, it's going to ask you to add another parameter to create store, which is a second argument, so that we can actually go ahead and check it in our browser. So I'm going to copy this, right? And let me go to my index.js over here and simply add this second parameter so that I can go and actually start using it, right? So I've added this second argument in order to use this DevTools. And now I should be able to see Redux over here. So I click on Redux, and alright, so now you should be able to see your global state. Your global state contains counter and it contains toggle. So these are the two reducers we created, and inside of this reducers, this was the state name, right? So counter was the name of the reducer, and these names are going to be same as what you have given over here inside of your index.js inside reducers, right? I have given the name counter and toggle. So just like that, you're going to see counter and toggle over here, right? And also if you want to check the difference between the previous and new state, so for example, if I click on counter, it's going to say that the counter value changed from 0 to 1. Again, if I click on it, it's going to say change from 1 to 2, and here it also logs what action did I actually execute. So you can see all of this is very helpful to see how it's actually happening, right? This is a really useful extension that you should be using when you are dealing with React Redux. And another thing that I quickly want to discuss is we are calling this increment counter, and this actually increments the counter by 1, right? Similarly, decrement counter decrements the counter by 1. But what if we want to pass a custom value, like we want to increment the counter by 5 each time? So just like functions work, we can pass it an argument. This is just a normal function, right? So I'm going to pass it 5, let's say. And if I go to increment counter, I can simply receive it as an argument, right? So this is going to, let's say, value, right? So we want to increment the counter by this particular value. But from here, we are only returning the type of the action. But this time, we also want to return some data. That is, by what data we want to increment, right? So this is an object. We can obviously return other properties. So let me say I'm going to return another property called data, right? Whose value is basically this particular value, right? Now I'm going to get access to this inside of my reducer. So if I go to counter reducer, you can see that we have access to action.type. So similarly, we can also get the value of action.data. We have basically exported this as data, right? So we should be able to get it by saying action.data, just like we can access action.type. So if I go here, I should be able to say instead of state plus 1, I want to say action.data. I'm trying to increment the value by whatever the data value is. So let me hit save on this and quickly refresh. Now let's go ahead and check what happens if I click on increment. And like you can see, the counter value is actually getting incremented by 5 each time, right? Decrement still is by 1 value because we haven't changed that. But I just wanted to show you how you can also pass an argument, right? So you want to pass some custom data of your own, which will be obviously received inside of increment counter. And then that can be passed as data, or you can name it anything. Generally, the convention is to say payload, but here I've made it data. So you can change this to payload. That's the general convention. You can pass any payload you want. So I'm naming it counter here, data here. And if I go to counter.js, I will be able to get the value through action.data, and I'm updating the state by a value of action.data. Now before we can close this video, I want to talk about the entire flow because it can be really confusing. We had to create so many things over here, right? So this is how the flow works. Inside of app.js, I have basically a button on which when I click, I dispatch an action, and the action is called increment counter, right? So if I go to increment counter, it should take me over here. And then when I actually return a type from my action, what happens is the control goes to my reducer, because reducer is actually going to take care of implementing that action. So from here it will go to the reducer. Now one more thing to notice here is this. I did not tell this action which reducer is going to take care of this action. That means when you dispatch an action, all of the reducers are going to receive that action, and depending on which reducer can handle it, it's going to do it. So we do not actually tell explicitly which reducer should handle which action, right? So from action directly, the control is going to go to all the reducers that you have. So you have counter, you have toggle. It's going to go to both of these reducers, right? So but since we are handling it inside counter.js, what happens is when it comes here, it says I actually dispatched increment, and it's actually being handled inside counter.js, right? So let me go ahead and execute this. So since the case is increment over here, the state changes from 0 to 1, And since there is a change in the state, what happens is if you go to our main store where we have actually given the root reducer as an argument, since the value of counter changed, the main store is updated. And since the main store is updated, we are able to see the changes in the UI. And how did we do that? We did that by actually importing what state we wanted with the help of use selector. With the help of use selector, we chose what is the state that I want to select, what is the state that I want to show inside of app.js. I wanted to show counter. If I wanted, I could have also shown counter dot toggle. I can also show both, right? So depending on what my requirement is, I will use selector to actually select the state that I want to use, right? So there are two things. You simply want to import the state that you want to use, for which you'll use state. Another thing is you want to perform some state changes, for which you use dispatch in order to actually dispatch those actions. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful. And don't forget to smash the like button in case you enjoyed this video, and also don't forget to subscribe for the upcoming videos. Thank you.